I don't care who you are or where you work. Get your ass out and vote. This ain't the election to sit home and lurk. Get your ass out and vote. 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 Get your ass out and vote.
If you want to, not if you have to. No. I hope that's not copywritten. But oh my, oh my, oh me, oh my, oh me, oh my. Welcome. Hello. Good to see all of you here today. Welcome to the Jaybefaunt channel. My name is Jaybefaunt Leroy. I am your illustrious host. Just to let you guys know, the Jaybefaunt channel is available on all major podcast platforms like Anchor, Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Subscribe to me there. I'm also part of the Revolutionary Blackout Network, so you can find me on the JB Show on Sundays at 1, on RBN Live on Tuesdays at 4, and the Savvy and JB Show on Thursdays at 6. Thank you for the thumbs up to any of you who are giving me a thumbs up. And shout out to the patrons on Patreon as well as Coffee. Thank you so very much for your contributions from the top and bottom of my heart. Today is an interesting day. Let me make sure hold up. Let me make sure my camera's right. You gotta make sure I can see the people. Wait, what's that? Come on. Okay. Get it. Okay. Whew. Okay, Lord. Okay. All right. We're here. Okay. Good to see all of you here today. As you all may know, today is a particular day. Today is midterm election day. And so oh boy. It's just interesting that my day that I typically stream so happens to fall on today of all days. So I'm gonna have a little bit of a conversation about, and really with all of you in the chat about your guesstimations about what you think is going to happen, wins, losses, things like that. Really, it's almost like a spectator type of thing that we're going to be looking at. So I just want you guys to tune in and to see how that actually. I want to see how, and compare how the results, tally, to what you think. Actually, I should have made a poll. Maybe I should. Maybe I should make a poll about how many people think that it's going to be a red wave versus how many people think it's going to be like kind of here and there or blue it. Actually, you know what? Do you guys think I should do a poll? If you guys think I should do a poll, just let me know. Because this is more just like spectator. Because, it's just like what Yepek says. Yepek says doesn't matter who wins, JB, do people still lose? Yeah, of course. My thing is I'm just looking at it like a spectator, like eating popcorn. I'm just like, but who knows? So some of you guys are like, do a poll. All right, let's do a poll. Let's do on the poll, baby. Okay, hang on. Let's go to my channel. Hang on. Shut up, JB. I'm sorry, I'm talking to myself. Actually, can I do a poll? Hang on. Yes, I can. Okay. What type of wave do you think will happen this term? And then we're going to have red wave, blue wave, and then add an option. No. Red wave, blue wave, no wave. Yeah, I'll just do that. Okay. So the poll is up now. So the poll question is, what type of wave do you think will happen in the election? Red wave, red wave, blue wave, or no wave? And so just go ahead and give that a vote. Get your ass out and vote on that poll. If you guys don't want to vote for anybody at all, and you guys just want to stay home, the hell, whatever. Because the thing is that so many people are disenfranchised. Because do we really live in a democracy? No. So, so the thing is that if you honestly do not look. I mean, the only thing that I honestly feel worth voting for is for state rep, which my state rep I get to vote for is a Green Party person, Robin Harris. I met her at the Medicare for All March last year, so she's the only And look, Sabby, I talk to Sabby on the phone often, and one thing I said, I was like, I went down the line because we actually have a Senate race, governor race, representative race. We have a whole bunch of races. It's as if it's a general election almost, except for we don't have a president to vote for. So it's like senator, shit. Congress, shit. Governor, shit. Attorney general, shit. CFO, shit. Commissioner of Agriculture, shit. State rep, one good person. And then you have Supreme Court justices, and then Court of Appeals, which is kind of difficult to to do those because you literally have to do a lot of research for judges and things like that. And then you have the constitutional amendments to vote on, which I'm thinking I'm just going to read over the ones that I can, and then I'm just going to bubble those in. The one I'm most interested in, actually, I think is the rent stabilization ordinance, because then this one says, Shadow Orange County rent stabilization ordinance, which limits rent increases for certain residential rental units in multifamily structures to the average annual increase at the Consumer Price Index, and requires the county to create a process for landlords to request an exception to the limitation on the rent increase based on an opportunity to receive fair and reasonable return on investment be approved for a period of 1 year. So basically, if it's going to put another barrier in front of landlords and basically put a ball in the court of the tenants, I'm all for. And and the other one about transportation surtax, it says shall charter county and regional transportation surtax at the rate of 1% be levied in Orange County, Florida for a period of 20 years with revenue deposited into a trust fund dedicated exclusively to transportation and transit improvement uses authorized by law, with oversight and accountability for the revenue provided by a citizen oversight board and the elected comptroller as approved by the Board of County Commissioners. So it's like, what the fuck do I care about having 1% sales tax? It's a penny. you know, and if people are getting pissed off at giving 1 penny in order to our um improve our public transit system, what? You're pissed off at a penny? So yeah, so one state rep and these ballot initiatives, that's the only thing I'm actually interested in voting for. Everything else is just like, anywho, welcome to everybody. Welcome everyone. What in the hell? Welcome everyone. All right, so good to see you, a non-user. Match made in heaven. We will see. We'll talk about it. Let's go. Moused It says TYT finally found a permanent host for their upskirts. Moused It. This is why I like when you're in the chat. Yeah. What in the? What was that? A non-user says, wrote in Putin and Ghost of Mao. Ghost of Mao. Stephen Tremolino says, hey y'all. Good to see you, Stephen. All right, welcome to the chat. Bill Bradley's also in the chat. It's good to see you, Bill. All right, Bryce. Good to see you. Wakanda forever. Yepek says, looking forward to mocking the liberals when the Democrats backpedal on the promises again. Remember, today is the most important. Wait, I got to do it in my Bernie verse. So remember, today is the most important election in our lifetime, and democracy is on the ballot. I have a feeling TYT will have more high school interns. Sorry. Continuing on the Bernie impersonation, Steven says, what a good day to just stay at home and do nothing at all. For a lot of people, yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, it's like, what's the point? For a lot of us, like, what's the point? Some people, like, for instance, the ballot initiative regarding rent and the ballot initiative regarding public transportation are something that actually, at least if I can ease the burden on people like me, just by voting on that and skip everybody else, okay. If I can at least have a hand in voting for a Green Party person to be my state rep, okay, cool. That's fine. And so because of that, that's the only reason why I would be voting. Everybody else, I'm probably thinking about just leaving blank. Or if I'm going to write somebody in, I don't know. I might write in Kwame Ture. He's dead. I might write him in. Or Asada Shakur. Who knows? I might write one of them in. Who knows? Chris is in the chat saying hello. Hello, Chris. AG is also in the chat. Good to see you. Desert Mantis says, let the beatings begin. Good to see you. Bad Cookie says, Yepex, the Dems are already trying to co-opt ballot initiatives into the DNC. I read 2 CNN reports saying that Dems are more or less responsible for ballot initiatives. Oh, gosh. Here we go. Oh, wait. Did I? I did not start Rockfin! No! Oh my god. People are gonna kill me. I'm gonna die. Hang on. Hold up. Jeez Louise. Sorry, people on Rockfin. I started a little late. 15 minutes late. Oh my gosh. Terrible. Bad JB. All right, Roman Smith, so good to see you also in the chat. You guys didn't miss much. Good to see you in the chat. Yepek says, I would love to, Steve, but Aaron to do. Okay. Oh, man. Who else is in the chat I didn't get to say hello to? Zach Davis is also in the chat saying, this is pro wrestling. The people always lose in politics in America. Yeah, it's true. Yep. Wouldn't you like to know, Desert Mantis? Good tea. Oh my goodness. Who else is in the chat? Pachico Rone says the tears are going to be flowing. Pacheco Roney's also a JB member. So good to see you up in the Chizak. All right. Radical Nation says wave of fear. Wave of fear it is. Delthea Simmons is also a JB member. Says a football game wave. It's an all spectacle anyway. Yep, that's what I'm seeing basically. Let me see who else is in the chat. You can say hello to CBC voter is also in the chat saying happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you, CBC voter. Soul Construct says I wrote in my pitbull. Aw. See now I'm feeling all mushy on the inside. Like, oh, now I want to see the pity. Probably a happy little pity too. All right. Oh, by the way, have I told you about a friend that story one time? A story of a friend's dog. I went to a friend's dog's house. Now this is going to be really quick. I went to a friend's house and they had a dog, and I first met the dog. Now I used to be really scared of dogs. By the way, don't ask. I didn't grow up having pets. I still don't have a pet. But anyways, so the dog comes over, and the dog's kind of chill. It's a black lab, and then the dog comes over while we're sitting at the table, and I pet the dog on the head, and then the dog comes back over, puts his chin on my lap, and I pet it some more. And then after I stop petting it, I rest my hand on my lap. The dog puts his muzzle underneath my hand, and he's like, "Hey, just keep on petting, like don't stop." And now that stole my heart. God, that stole my heart. I want, you see that dog, you just want to kiss him on top of his head. So, yeah. Anywho, but yeah. So, hello to Lady Alex. Good to see you. Hobo Rody is also good to see you in the chat. Delthea says often there are more things on the ballot than just the usual suspects. For those things, we need your vote. Yeah, it's true. John Schmidt says, I am pissed. Sales tax is regressive. Do a 1% wealth tax. Okay, I understand like the sales tax being regressive, which I actually, you know what? I agree. And it should be a wealth tax. The thing is, this is for public transportation. And the sales tax is going to affect the rich anyway. I'd rather affect the rich exclusively. But, I mean, if it's going to be spread abroad, and the rich are going to get caught, in it too, fuck it. But at the same time, I'd much rather it just be a wealth tax. In fact, hell, if it's just statewide, I would do like a 10% wealth tax. Like I would push it hard. 10%? Oh, what the fuck, JB? Why are you so weak? 25%. Let's fund these schools. Let's get this public transportation system going, and let the federal government, tax the hell out of them the rest of the way, and then close all these loopholes. And if I can seize more than that, hey, but we'll see. But one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to you guys first about what do you think is going to happen as far as the elections this evening? Before I get into the main story, what do you think is really like? Okay, one by one. Do you think that Dr. Oz is actually going to win against Fetterman, or do you think Fetterman is going to eke out a victory? I personally do think that Dr. Oz is actually going to win. I don't think Fetterman's going to win. I think Fetterman's going to lose. I think Fetterman is, it's like, what's really the difference, right? you look at, between Fetterman's like he was like, don't call me a progressive. I'm not a progressive. And I just feel like Oz is just going to eke out a victory. Plus the name recognition, the fame. Shit, if it were for Donald Trump, why not Oz? Right? That's the crazy part. When it comes to Walker and Warnock, the fact that it is that close, that's a toss-up. Like, I can't even put that's sad. The fact that I'm thinking about Warnock and Walker, and how from last time I saw, Warnock only had a 3% lead. 3%. That's the margin of error. Like, dude, how in the world are you getting only 3% on Herschel Walker? Like, are you kidding me right now? I mean, the fact that look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Y'all be surprised how conservative some black people are. There are some black people that are very conservative, especially along the Bible Belt. And the only reason why some black people do not vote Republican is because it's so stigmatized in the black community. But other than that, guess what? They vote. If it wasn't for that, they would vote Republican all day. There's a lot of black people who are very conservative, and a lot of people don't realize that. Trust me, as a gay male, especially in the South, yeah, it's true. So there is a definite possibility that Herschel Walker could win. Definite possibility, right? So, and the thing is that Warnock is, a pastor, but at the same time, that dude was the one that promised y'all $2,000 checks, and he didn't deliver. So some people are like, why not just go for the football player? So whatever. And for Florida, my home state, for Senate, well, for the House race, I don't even know who the fucking Democrat is. The Democrat, from what I heard, he was actually pro-Palestinian, and then he walked that shit back and went full Zionist. Maxwell Alejandro Frost versus Calvin B. Wimbush. Frost is going to win because where I live is very Democratic. So I think that Frost is going to win. They're also running against two other no party affiliation people who I looked at their platform. Their platform is absolute dog shit. And then Calvin Wimbush is a Republican. Good luck winning that, and a predominantly, more left-leaning area and plus there's a lot of poor people in this area. If a Republican wins, I'll be a little bit surprised. But the thing is that, what's the difference between Frost and who would be his predecessor? Would be Demings. And the thing is, if Demings loses, guess what? Demings is out of Congress, and Demings is running in the Senate race against Rubio. Do I think Demings will win against Rubio? No. Demings will not win. Demings is going to lose against Rubio. Rubio is going to eke out a win. But there's also a libertarian that's running in Senate too. I felt a slight temptation to vote for the libertarian simply because of his anti-war stance. That's the only thing that actually that was the only thing that was a bit of a temptation for me. But even still, I'm just like, I'm still like, nah. So yeah. And then for governor, I think DeSantis is going to win. I think DeSantis will win and I think DeSantis will actually have a bit of a comfortable win. I don't think that Christ is going to win. Number one, remember, Christ is actually one of the former governors of Florida. Chris was a Republican when he was governor of Florida. Then he switches a party affiliation to Democrat. Chris is just, um, gosh, if you look at Chris, he's like, um, what's gonna call it? What's that one dude? I forgot. But he's like the love child between Donald Trump and what's his name? That's extremely orange, other orange, skinny orange guy. Anywho, they all, I honestly think that DeSantis will pull out a comfortable win. It's not going to be a, a a landslide. It's not going to be something that's like he's not going to get like Chris isn't going to get shellacked. I think Chris will have. I think DeSantis will probably get like 62, 63%. He'll probably get like 62, 63%, something like that. That's honestly what I think he'll be. Yeah. Judging how I know Florida. Yeah. So, but the rest of the nation, I honestly think there's going to be a huge red wave. So let me see here. Leroy, good to see you, Leroy. It says I again voted by mail. None of these candidates, but I also voted yes on 3 for ranked choice voting. Oh, nice, nice. I also heard star voting is also really cool. I got to look into it though because I don't know as much about star voting as opposed to ranked choice voting. But either, from what I heard, either is basically a step above what we have now. So yeah. Dana Fairbanks says she's writing in her dog. That's funny. Um. Oh, you're sitting out? Okay. Like I said, anybody who sits out, I fully understand. I don't blame you. Some people they feel like it's not worth it. Look, instead, if you can, help somebody else out with some mutual aid or something like that, do that instead. Even just sending a kind message to somebody just to uplift their spirit. To me, that's like an emotional mutual aid. Even if you can do something like that, it can be something short. You know what I mean? And try to keep people's emotional health up because these two parties they're going to screw us over even more. If you don't think they haven't screwed us over yet, wait. Just wait. Corona Ursa says I've written some random names for all the positions. All right. You see, Hobo says I voted against abolition in Oregon, including community service. Sounds pretty scammy. Can't just fucking outlaw slavery now, can we? Lots of precedent and economic considerations, I suppose. Hmm. Interesting. Good to see ADC. Says meanwhile in Alberta, Canada, the authoritarian leader of the governing party is looking to be voted in through by-election tonight as well. Ooh. So you guys have an election too? Interesting. Good to see you, Jenna Colby. All right. Let me see. Let me see. Banks can ban Kanye, but not Epstein. Gosh. Let's see. Says Waba says Trudeau is a human rights violator, just like every one single one of our American presidents. So yeah. Anywho, so let's get to our primary story, because this is just whoa. Okay. Let me share my screen really quick, because look, when I saw this, I was like, damn, I gotta talk about this, because this is just some shit. Okay. Now, I had to screenshot it on an alt account because I'm actually blocked by TYT. That's right. Yours truly is blocked. Probably like the rest of y'all. Y'all probably blocked too. Congratulations. Okay, so let's me share the screen. Let me see. Hang on. Okay, here we go. So this is from the Young Turks, their Twitter page. It says Representative Matt Gaetz will join Cenk Ana Nina, and Nina Turner during our midterm elections live coverage. Tune in starting at 8 o'clock tonight. And what questions do you have for him? So as you can see, it has Matt Gaetz. This is not, look, this is not a drill. Y'all, this is not a drill. Look, this is some. Hold up. Let's do this. Hang on. Let me, just so that y'all can see. Y'all can see good and well. Because this is some bullshit. And I'm gonna tell y'all why. Look, it says live midterms coverage. Now, let me tell y'all something. Let's just get one thing straight here. This is some of the highest amount of hypocrisy I have ever seen. This is some hypocritical shit. Hypocritical. Sorry, I can't talk today. Something's in the tea. Why do I say that? You have people like Cenk Ana Nina, calling other people secret right wingers, right? For talking about certain issues or talking with certain people, right? Like, for instance, they'll have a problem with Glenn Greenwald going on Tucker Carlson to basically go to the left and drag them on foreign policy to the left. You'll have Jimmy Dore drag people, Tucker Carlson's audience, to the left on, certain issues, especially when it comes to foreign policy, even in domestic policy. They'll do that. And yet, they will have on Matt Gaetz. This Ana Nina, the same one that flipped off Aaron Mate, an award-winning journalist, and said, F Aaron Mate, right? We all know that Aaron Mate is on the left. And yet, she's willing to have on Matt Gaetz. They had on, people with different views, right? Jimmy and other people, they've had on people with different views. And yet they were like, and they talk about what they agreed on, they talk about what they didn't agree on, right? Which is fine, because it's good to have this dialogue so that you can talk about what you agree and what you don't agree. And yet, when someone who is not for the duopoly does it, it's wrong. But when somebody does it within a duopoly, it's okay. That's hypocritical. Gosh, am I actually going to get through without saying the word rights, JB? It's hypocritical of them to sit there and bash anybody who's outside of duopoly, anybody who is not for the squad, the frauds. Look, I'm comfortable calling them the fraud squad now because they've shown themselves to be frauds. Look, I'm sorry if some people are going to get mad at me, but Bernie walked away from this movement. Bernie showed his true colors, right? In fact, if you guys watched Sabby Sabs last night, she had on Lucy, Blue Moon Red Wine, and Lucy was talking about how, and Sabby and Lucy were talking about how Bernie Sanders was cool with Jewish people getting reparations, but when it comes to black people getting reparations, he said no, he doesn't think we should. So it's okay for Jewish people, but it's not okay for black people. So the thing is that when it comes to you have a lot of these elected representatives, either Democrat or Democrat is, essentially Democrat with just an I next to their name. They really do not care about black people. The Democrats nor the Republicans care about us, right? And so the TYTs will prop this up. And by TYTs, I'm not just talking about TYT, I'm talking about Majority Report, I'm talking about others. They will prop up the duopoly, even putting in right-wing neo-fascists in their coverage to talk about elections. And yet, we can't have a conversation with somebody who might be slightly to the right of us. Maybe going anti-war. Maybe talking about healthcare for all. We can't do it, right? But they can. Miss Nina Turner, who called Jimmy Dore anti-black, right? And yet, she's going to sit down with Matt Gaetz? And my problem isn't the fact that they have a right-winger on. That's not my problem. My problem is that they will feign outrage about us talking to somebody who we don't agree with. And then, even then, when some of us have some overlapping beliefs, like anti-war, like anti-mandate, some of us are anti-mandate, or things like that, they're automatically tagging us with, you're a secret right-winger. And then here's the crazy part. They're tagging with secret right-wingers when you have a literal right-winger on, and yet when people call you out on your bullshit, you're like, oh, we should have conversations with people who we don't agree with. But you don't want us to do it? You don't want us? You don't want us to actually talk to people who we don't agree with? Who made you our parents? Who made you our mom and dad? So you're going to sit here and tell us that we can't do it, but yet you do it. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Oh, how you guys fall. You guys have fell. Because back in the day, like 6, 7, 8 years ago, you guys were the place to go if you wanted to find out about progressives. TYT, MSNBC, I can't tell the difference. I can't. Like, what's the difference between you guys? You guys repeat the same, NSA, State Department talking points when it comes to foreign policy. You guys continuously prop up the Democratic Party, even though the Democratic Party has shown time and time again that it does not give a shit about us. It doesn't give a shit about poor people. It doesn't give a shit about elderly people. It doesn't give a shit about disabled people. It doesn't give a shit about LGBTQ people. It doesn't give a shit about black people. It doesn't give a shit about immigrants. They don't give a shit about trans people, they don't give a shit about any of us because they're just like their counterpart, which is the Republican Party. There's no difference. And every single time we talk about it, why are you being so divisive? Are we really being divisive? Or is it us for calling balls and strikes? Look at what Joe Biden's been doing. Joe Biden has been governing just like Donald Trump. And you can look back on RBN, and we all said, "Oh yeah, he's gonna govern just like Donald Trump." There's no difference between them. One fash, two fash, red fash, blue fash. What's the fucking difference? Why are we sitting here debating about who is slightly better? If I take a pile of shit with an ice cream scoop it out, and then put it on and put it between two pieces of bread, that's the Republican Party. If I take half that scoop out, but leave the other half scoop of shit on there between two pieces of bread, that's the Democrats. Is that progress? Is that something better? Like, really? I hate to get gruesome on y'all, but that's basically what it is. Remember what Nina said? Vote for a full bowl of shit versus a half bowl of shit. Guess what? You still got shit. But the thing is that was it between a full bowl and a half bowl? Nah. It just seems to be one with flies and one without flies. That's the only difference. And so now you basically have TYT, where it looks like they're moving people to the right. Like, are you kidding me right now? And they can't say nothing. They can't say anything. They can't say nothing to us at RBN. Hell, they can't say anything to Jimmy Dore. They can't say shit to Jimmy Dore after this. Let them try. They won't. They have no leg to stand on. Nothing. Because they're sitting here talking to somebody who is way to the right, who has faced a sexual assault scandal that says that talks about anti-white racism. That guy? Should have known. I mean, Cenk Uygur did have David Duke on his show. Oh, but he was to debate him, right? And yet you can do that, but dare I say have somebody who's slightly to my right, and then next thing you know, people from TYT or Sam Cedar and Majority Report, Emma Vigeland and all of them will go, "Oh, you can't have people, you can't talk to them." I'm gonna show you guys something too, because this is just wild. Because I look, I had to. I was just like, okay, bet. All right, Anna Kasparian, let's see what you say. I don't know if she actually answered. I don't know if she answered what I said, but we'll see. Let me share my screen really quick. All right. Anna Kasparian says, we're going to interview people we vehemently disagree with on TYT. Bullshit. Because if that was the case, they would have had Jimmy back on. But the thing is, and they don't even vehemently disagree with him. Here's the funny thing. When it comes to things like healthcare and wages and things like that, they actually have a lot of overlap. So for them to say that they will interview people who they vehemently disagree with, but the people who they have mild disagreements with, they're going to basically, ostracize them. That's the stupidest thing. So she said, we're going to interview people whom we vehemently disagree with on TYT. I said, so you're okay with talking with someone whom you have mild disagreements with. So what about Revolutionary Blackout Network, Aaron Mate, Danny Haiphong, Max Blumenthal, Margaret Kimberly, Sabby Sabs, Nick, CJ, Kim Brown, the folks at Midwestern Marxist. There's so many people that they could talk to, right? So many people. And yet they won't have us on. But they're willing to have on Matt Gaetz. Because here's the thing. They'd rather have someone far to the right of them to disagree with than somebody slightly to their left. They'd rather, and here's the thing. What's the difference between them and the Democratic Party when it comes to Bernie? The Democratic Party rather have re-elect Trump than have Bernie Sanders voted in. Why? Because they didn't want somebody to their left. What's the difference between TYT? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Because they can't stand to have somebody to their left. Because then they know that somebody who goes to look, can y'all hold up, look, let me get this thing down. Get off me. Can y'all imagine Sabby or Nick going on TYT? Can you just think about it for a second? Can you think about Aaron Mate or Max Blumenthal going on TYT? Or Misty Winston? Can you imagine Margaret Kimberly on TYT? Dismantling. Dismantle. Because the thing is that they're constantly pushing the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party doesn't do shit for anybody. And yet they're going to have them on. They're going to. And I usually don't talk about other hosts and programs like this, but they deserve to be called out. Because we get attacked. We get attacked by people, one of them who lives in Miami, who constantly goes after us, especially a lot of us who are black, right? And then they'll be all cool with TYT. And then guess what? They're sitting there being pro-war and wanting to go send more money and weapons to Ukraine, to a bunch of, which has a huge influx of Nazi militiamen in their army. And then on top of that, they don't honestly think that NATO is a terrorist organization, which it is. Constantly pushing, the borders of NATO countries to the east, and putting weapons at the border against Russia. Like, what is really the difference between now and the Cuban Missile Crisis, when the United States actually put missiles in Turkey and pointing it at Russia? What's the difference? Who has been the aggressor the entire time? The U.S. But somehow this leaves their collective consciousness of those who I like to call on the legacy left. Here's the article. Matt Gaetz scandal deepens as associate admits paying 17-year-old for sex. It says, citing an anonymous source, the New York Times reported that Greenberg has told investigators Gaetz had sex with the girl and knew she was being paid. Gaetz denies all accusations and has said he will not resign from Congress. But they're willing to have him on. They're willing to have him on. And they talk about how these people are horrible. They're fascist. They'll talk about how, wicked and evil they are, and yet they're willing to put them, on platform them on their channel. All for election coverage. And I'm gonna stand by what Savvy said last night. It's for clicks. That's what honestly what it's for. And people need to realize and wake up. Here's the deal. Let me peep the game. All right. Hold on. Let me sip the last of my tea. Peep the game. The tube, you don't know what I mean, has a corporate algorithm. That corporate algorithm, which is in partner with State Department, NSA, and all them people, because they actually hire those people to be in part of their, part of their teams and these tech companies. What they end up doing is anybody that is anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, things like that, they're suppressed. The corporate algorithm is pushed in front of you. This is why you'll see Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, all these that will constantly come up on your timeline on the tube. And you're like, why am I seeing corporate media? But then you keep scrolling, you also see TYT because it's on that corporate algorithm. Because that's the narrative that needs to be pushed all the way. You see, there's a border, right? Okay, so from my angle, this is the right and this is the left. For me, this is the left and this is the right, but whatever, just for the sake of you guys being able to see from your perspective. So on the right, it feels weird doing it that way. On the right, you can go as far as you want to the right. But when it comes to the left, there's a border. And that border is the furthest left you can go in the Democratic Party, which is basically where the squad resides, where Bernie resides. If you go past that border, you might get Kennedy. I'm not mincing words. You might get Kennedy. You might get JFK. So with that being said, then you can't go past that border. You can't go. So anybody who's beyond that border, like the TYTs and on all of them, they can't go past that. Because once they go past that, they lose that algorithm. They lose all those eyes constantly coming on them, which means money. That algorithm means more money, more viewers, more clicks, more subscribers, more Patreons, right? More subscriptions. That's what it means. It's all about cash. So guess what? That's why they got to stay on that corporate algorithm. Because if they're not on a corporate algorithm, guess what? They go into true independent media land where we're suppressed. And so because of that, they have to stay within a certain lane. So this is why they can have one of Matt Gaetz. But they can never, ever have on a Nick Cruz. They can never, ever, ever have on an Affini. They can't have us on. They can't have on a Rome. They can never have us on. You know why? Because it goes against the corporate algorithm. And it messes with their money. And so that's the game. That's the game. That's how it's played. And so this is one of the reasons why people like me will go, Make sure to like the stream and things like that. Why? Because it tells the algorithm, oh, it's popping over here. You guys may want to push this forward a little bit more. Because outside of that, it's dead space. So that's why they are so willing to continuously go along with the duopoly. It's because it's lucrative financially for them. It's when they're financially their best interests, right? Because they're doing it for the money, not because it's right. If it was about doing what the right thing to do was, they would have been where we're at a long time ago. But it's not lucrative for them. This is why you have Kyle Kalinske. Now he's a bro for Biden. He's a bro for Biden now. Because the algorithm is more lucrative if you stay within the confines of the Democratic and Republican Party, the Demo-Republican Party. And that's how it works. The algorithm does not like anti-capitalists, anti-imperialists. It does not like us. That's the way it is. And so if you're sitting here wondering, well, why would they have Matt Gaetz on? It's because he's within those confines. He's within those barriers. They're not going to have those of us who are to their left on. They're not going to have somebody who actually is for seizing the means of production and distribution and handing, the corporations over to the workers so that they can have full control. They're not going to have on people who want to nationalize certain industries like the energy industry, like the healthcare industry. They're not going to have people like that, like us on. They're not going to have people like us that want to abolish the CIA, that want to abolish ICE, that want to abolish, the NSA and the Homeland Security because we really don't need them, who want to close all the military bases that we have on and around the world, that want to slash the military budget to the point where it's equal or less than some of these other countries that we're competitive with. They're not going to have us on because it ruins their gravy train. Because then once the people start to hear the truth, they walk away. But the good part though is more people are starting to listen. Let me check Rockfin. Rory O'Neill, good to see you on Rockfin. Happy Tuesday to you. So good to see you. All right. Waba says Vox, TYT, CNN, MSNBC never show up in my recommendations. Good. Happy for you. Red says CIA or worse than Gestapo and Nazism like Congress, Wall Street banks, etc. It's much greater evil to kill socialists because they're different. One system is dictatorship. Yepex says, speaking of the algorithm, you often don't see material that challenges the United States capitalism and their Western narrative in search engines when you type something on the first page. Yeah. Mouse that says, vote against the Patriot Act and your plane might just blow up. Senator Wellstone. Woo, boy. Vinny says, goes back to when Trump was addressing Congress and said America will never be a socialist state. And all the Democrats who hate him so much stood up applauding him. Yeah. Because the thing is that they are all within the same team. They're all team oligarch. They're all team super rich. Because they think in their minds that people who are super rich are the more worthy people in this world, when that's complete and utter bullshit. Let me see. The only mainstream voice I get recommended is Jordan Peterson. but he still claims to be persecuted. Oh, God. I get recommended him, too. I'm like, why in the hell are you guys constantly recommending people like Jordan Peterson to me? I mean, he's a capitalist goon. And just and telling young men to make their bed is like, that's not really helping them, right? Telling them that they have more power than they realize, and telling them that actually letting go of these prejudices and blaming shit on minority groups isn't actually going to get you the liberation that you think is going to give you. Really, to be honest with you, it's capitalism. That's part of the problem. Another part of it, and people will look at me like, "Oh, you're appealing to oh my God, identity politics when I say patriarchy," but it's true. It's true. Dare I say, men do manly shit to impress other men. They don't do it to impress women. That's really what it is. But that's a whole nother argument. And then men are still going to be men anyway. So what if we embrace our feminine side a little bit? Okay, cool. Why is that considered a bad thing? Like, people get on my nerves with that. Putting us on a hierarchy. Men over women. Masculinity over femininity. What? Get the fuck out of here. Have you seen the power of femininity? Men will go to fucking war over women. And y'all want to diminish the power of femininity in women. Get the fuck out of here, man. God. Oh. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Back to the chat. Red says it's called manufacturing consent. One bullshit report after another on a monopoly mass media. That's actually a really good point. Noam Chomsky actually talks in his book about manufacturing consent, and there's an overlapping or really a consensus agreement between Chomsky and Michael Parenti, where they both talk about how someone who's in the media apparatus that they're in, it's not that they're specifically being told, oh, well, you got to push this narrative. It's that they actually believe the actual narrative out the State Department, out the NSA and places like that. And then they peddle that same thing because they actually believe the Kool-Aid that they just drank. So that's the same thing. Somebody like Cenk Uygur or Anna Kasparian or even Anina Turner actually believes the Kool-Aid that they've been fed. That being said, this is why they were able to get that $20 million from Jeffrey Katzenberg and TYT. It's because they actually believe the BS. And because they believe the BS, guess what? They got the $20 million. They're on the corporate algorithm, and they stay within those borders. That's why. Michael Parenti even talks about it in his book, Dirty Truths. Yeah, he talks about it. So when people are like, oh, well, are they meeting in a secret room to tell them what to cover? Not necessarily. It's just, they know that's where they need to go. And then when you'll have outbursts from people like Cenk or Anna about the Democratic Party, and they express the true, real emotional frustrations about them, and then they come out and go, man, I'm sick and tired of the Democratic Party. They're sick. I'm sick and tired of them. Then next thing you know, a day later, they're walking it back. Well, we got to stick within the Democratic Party because we got to vote out fascism. Even though they allowed the Democratic Party to let Roe v. Wade be railroaded by the Republicans, even though they had 50 years to codify Roe v. Wade, we have to keep them in because they can vote out fascism. We have to put democracy on the ballot because even though the Democrats have done so poorly that they actually allowed the Republican Party to actually take over to invoke a fascist state, we have to still vote for them. Because fascism. Here's the thing. And shit, I'll say it right here. Because Parenti and Jackson both said they already believe we live in a fascist state already. It's just the illusion of choice. It's the illusion of choice. Like, okay. How would you rather die? Would you rather me hook up a car battery, one positive and one negative, to your nipples and then charge it? Or would you rather me hook up car battery to one of your earlobes and charge it? Which one would you rather have? Which one? Oh, right. You don't want to die at all? Oh, well, you don't have that choice. See, that's the thing. It's the illusion of choice. The illusion of choice is Democrat, Republican. But if you notice, nothing ever changes. Why? Because they all work together. They are all on the same team. Because that's how it is. Thanks, Red. All right. Vinny says, so it's funny. Right wingers always do that, always crying about being censored, but yet everywhere. Yo, if you go to the right, it's all systems go. You can be as racist as you want to. You can be as hateful as you want to. There will be an audience for you. To be honest with you, I mean, you may get a little bit of an algorithm that's against you a little bit, only because of the sensibilities of some. But you're free to go wherever you want, because guess what? They're not really going to go up against you. Hell, even the alphabet bureaucracies aren't really going to come after you that much, because some of the people in the alphabet bureaucracies are also in the same club as you are if you're that far on the right. Let's be honest. We're literally sending billions of dollars to Nazis in Ukraine. Yeah, it's not going to happen. However, on the flip side, if you're on the left, and by the left, I'm talking about past democratic social. I'm talking about socialists, commie, anarchists, people like that. Guess what? They laid the hammer down on us. And yet, you have people on the right that are constantly, I'm being censored. No, you're being held accountable for the bullshit that you said. They're censoring us. No, you're crying. That's like that meme of that kid that's crying, but that and thinks that they're drowning, but they're literally sitting on the bed of the lake while their head is like this under the water, and they're like, "I'm drowning," but really they're just sitting. All they have to do is stand up because they're not drowning at all. They don't have to face it like we do. But that's part of the grift. They want to make you think, oh, it's the far left and the far right. And guess what? Those far left and far right, guess what? Well, guess what? They both have to be censored. When really the far right's not really that censored. You can have a Ben Shapiro making millions. Millions. Yet the gray zone it's crazy. Anywho. Good to see you, Gary. Says we have to learn to forgive everyone of any significance has been given an offer they can't refuse. That's true. That that is right. That is true. And here's the thing. Just because they can be forgiven, which is I do believe in, doesn't mean that when they're transgressing that they shouldn't be called out on their bullshit. And that's what we're doing. they need to be called out. Their hypocrisy is showing. Their hypocrisy has been showing for quite a while. I don't talk about it as much as some of my other contemporaries in this space because they got it covered. You know what I mean? But once in a while, I feel like, you know what? I got to say something too. I got to be part of that collective of voices that's calling them out because they continuously do it. Like, you had a whole bunch of them who were attacking Breonna Joy Gray last week about, this pro-war stance about going against Ukraine. And Breonna Joy Gray kind of rolled her eyes at the trope of, well, what you think about the children? And it's like, well, what about the children in Yemen? What about the children in Palestine? What about the children in Haiti? What about the children in Congo? What about the children here in the United States of America that look like us? What about us? You guys don't give a shit about them, but when it comes to blonde hair, blue-eyed children in Europe, then you're like, oh, we got to save the children. But so the thing is that she got attacked for that. Like crazy on Twitter. In so much that they tried to shut down her Patreon, her primary source of income. So the thing is that I did not see Marianne Williamson. I did not see Crystal Ball. I did not see anybody from TYT. I did not see anybody from Majority Report. I didn't see none one of them come to her defense. I didn't see none one of them go, look, I disagree with her take, but going after her Patreon is overboard. You guys shouldn't do that. I didn't see any of them defend her, at least on that. Now, if they did, correct me when I'm wrong. Okay, fine, cool. But I did not see that. And she was mild compared to the rest of us. So while I agree with you, Gary, I also think that they should be called out, when they are wrong. And I think you agree too. It's just, anywho, Bill be dropping gems. He be secretly coming in with gems. Hang on. What'd you say, Bill? Bill said, the U.S. was not set up to be truly democratic at the federal level because the system was intended to be mostly decentralized. We have never been a federal democracy. That's true. Actually, it's interesting that you guys talk. Bill, I got you. Hold up. Bill, you just touched on something. This hang on. Man, I wish I had time to react to this. I mean, I already watched it, but I would love to react to this too. But I'm gonna share a link in the chat. And let me share my screen really quick because Bill just touched on something really important. This is from Second Thought. I love this channel. If you guys have not subscribed to Second Thought, please make sure to subscribe to Second Thought. They are wonderful. JT is awesome. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Bill, let me take your comment down for a second just so I can show the title. This is called Why the U.S. is Not a Democracy. This is actually from Second Thought, and he actually goes through the history of why the United States is not a democracy. It's not a long video. It's only 15 minutes. I think it's 15 minutes tops, a little close to 17 minutes. But it's actually a really good breakdown, very short breakdown on why the United States isn't a actual democracy and how a representative democracy actually has the flaw where the representatives can actually be co-opted and they could be seduced basically into going according to the desires of a small class of rich people instead of the rest of the populace. and really how, in my opinion, a direct democracy is actually a much better system. But yeah, he actually goes over that, which is really great. So I do recommend that you guys go and take a look at Second Thought. He actually, that's a really good one. I'm not sure if you guys are subscribed to him or not, but he's good. So look, let me go to the poll. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna have to share my screen really quick. Hang on. Let me see. Can I expand it? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me share my screen because I really want to get to this poll and see what you guys think. And I want to show you guys. If you guys haven't taken a poll yet, please make sure to take the poll on YouTube as well, because that's also very important. So at 72 votes, it says, what type of a wave do you think will happen in this midterm election? Red wave, blue wave, or no wave? Red wave actually has the highest, with 71% thinking that it's going to be a red wave for this midterm election. The polls start closing on the East Coast at 7 p.m. So give or take about a little over 3.5 hours from now. Blue waves at 4%, no waves at 25%. So a quarter of you think that there's not going to be any wave at all. And that's a likelihood, I'm not going to lie. But it's either going to be no wave or red wave. It's going to be one of those two. I actually strongly think it's going to be a red wave. But if I'm wrong, it's going to be no wave at all. There will not be a blue wave because that's the way it looks. Because the Democrats have failed so much. And before I go, look, I'm going to say this. I honestly do think that the Democrats are literally losing on purpose. Hear me out. If the Democrats had truly actual winning on their mind, number one, Bernie would have won in 2016. No, for real. If Democrats just wanted to just have a win, if they just wanted to win, Bernie would have won in 2016. We would have had Bernie for 2 years. And we would have had Bernie for 2016 and then 2020. And we wouldn't have another election until 2024. People like India Walton would have won. India Walton in Buffalo, she would have won. Jessica Cisneros in Texas probably would have won. If Democrats were actually wanting to win, we would have gotten Medicare for all already. Because by Bernie's bill, it was 4-year transition into Medicare for all, right? 4 years. So by the time 2020 hit, by the time the pandemic hit, we would have had full Medicare for all, single-payer healthcare system in this country. And even studies have shown that if we had a single-payer healthcare system, it would have saved 300,000 lives during the pandemic, which means 300,000 fewer people would have died, which means it would have been a less of a blow. If they actually wanted to win, they would have codified Roe v. Wade into law years ago, and we wouldn't have to worry about it. If they actually wanted to win. If they actually wanted to win, we would have given a living wage. If they actually wanted to win, a wealth tax would have been implemented, and the rich will be crying uncle right now. If they actually wanted to win, if they actually wanted to eke out a win, it could have happened. Why? Because even people who voted Republican wanted Bernie Sanders. Even people who voted Republican. If they actually wanted to win, they could have won. They could have eked out a win so good. If they actually wanted to win, all that money that's going to Ukraine wouldn't have went to Ukraine. They actually will be saying, no, Ukraine and Russia, you guys need to come to a peaceful agreement. We will not push NATO anymore. And the United States would have been working to dismantle NATO because there's no reason to have NATO anymore. Because if the Soviet Union, which the reason for NATO existing, is now gone, what's the point of having NATO? There's no reason to have NATO. No reason. What is the point of having mouse traps in your house if there's no longer a mouse in the house? What's the point of keeping them around? Especially if every crack and crevice is blocked. So therefore, there's no reason to have them. I'm not saying that the communists and socialists are mice or anything like that, but that's not what I mean. I'm just using that as an analogy. I know. JB, get it together. But that's my thing. Like, if the Democrats truly want to win, they would actually do all these things, but they don't want to. Because there's a coalition. The coalition is the tiny little amount of oligarchs versus the rest of us. And that's the way it is. Humanitarian Genocide says, what a fucking joke. Schumer is both the Dem and the Working Family Party candidate. Yeah. Gary says, robbing the 99% is their win. Yeah. Want to see a robbery in progress? Look at the polls right now. The robbery in progress is happening right now. Look, the robbery in progress, there's a lot of these people on these on these ballots. That's the robbery in progress. Because guess what? We're not winning. But here's the thing, and a lot of times we talk about, the bad parts about what's going on with this country. And it's just like what those of us are RBN always saying. If you got, and we had an entire summit on activism. So I recommend you guys go to RBN for the General Strike Summit year 2 for the activist summit, where we talked about different solutions and different groups and activism that you can get involved in. If you guys want to get involved in giving out mutual aid to people, then you guys can go ahead and do that. That's also a really good thing, so that we can actually change the country from a material standpoint. There are also groups like Massachusetts Peace Action. You guys have Casey Tenants, which is where Nick lives. You guys also have, oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of the organization that CJ wants to work with in Watts. I think it's Watts. I forgot. I'm sorry. But there's another one, Watts, that CJ is working with. And then I want to do, something with, there's a organization, for trans activists that find housing for trans people who are homeless. I got to get the name of their organization again. My mind is slipping. Gosh, it cleaned out my brain, dialysis. But the thing is that, if you find organizations like this, then that's one of the best things that we can do. I mean, people, are even though we can't affect something through electoral politics, like there's some of us who are just like done with electoral politics. But what about the organizations that are actually doing good things on the ground? If you don't want to vote for them, cool, I get it. No need, because guess what? There's something people like. So half of this ballot is going to be blank because they're shit. But what about some organizations that may be doing, like for instance, the African People's Socialist Party? Maybe send them a couple bucks, right? You know, maybe do that for them. Maybe there's some people who are doing some things who are locally around your area that can help out. Rome's tour for the poor. He's trying to build a library right now. You know, so there are some things that we can do, even though it seems like things are, on, you know, even though it seems like the darkest just before the dawn. The dawn is coming. It's coming. And I just hope that you guys can keep strong for as long as you possibly can, to keep talking to people, man, because people really need to hear that they actually have more power than they realize. And if enough people start to realize that they have power, but it's outside of the duopoly, and if they are talked about how to wield that power, then hell, it can get done. Let me see. Cobra Commander. Good to see a Cobra Commander says, oh, he said play Metro. Let me see. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like for instance, they're losing because they just want to fundraise. Raziel, good to see you, says they fundraise from their donors. So basically, both companies they are registered as businesses only serve their stockholders. Oh, sheet, just like Wall Street. Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, trans people. Like what? Bill Bradley says DeSantis thinks his turn to run is coming. If not 2024, then 2028. I think Kerry Lake is going to blindside him and take the party from him. Really? Interesting. That's an interesting take, Bill. Hmm. Do you? Why do you think that is, Bill? I'm kind of curious because part of me is kind of going the identity politics route. Like she's a Latina, she's a woman, but she's a conservative. So that can kind of take away from because they can say, we got a Latina, we got a woman, but she's a conservative. So that can kind of take it away from DeSantis. What are your thoughts? Is that the route you're going on this on your reasoning on this? Because I'm actually quite curious about that. Yeah, look. They JFK Nick for sure if they could. Let me see. Let me see. Raziel says DeSantis has a machine down here in Florida. It wouldn't be hard to see him get overtaken by the only person who will crush him is Trump. Yeah. In fact, and by the way, I live in a very concentrated area. It's black, Caribbean, Latino, and um, and a big Haitian population in where I live, and I see DeSantis signs everywhere. All DeSantis. I don't see any Christ. None. And I'm just like, why? Is it because they don't feel a need to really kind of woo this area into, voting for them? Because I mean, be honest with you, we actually have a gubernatorial race right now. But I guess for some reason, I guess they feel comfortable in the fact that they'll win this area. It's whatever. Gamer says Carrie Lake is a nut job. I haven't heard that phrase in a while. See, Johnny says, don't even believe communists can do without capitalists. Yeah, they can. They've done it before. They'll do it again. Says Jaybefaunt. The proverb is always darkest before the dawn. Black Uni Griffin. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Bill says, yeah, I think if DeSantis does not beat Trump by 2024, by 2028, Lake will be more popular, is what I think is going to happen. She's very Trumpian in her presentation. She talks mass-ish. Oh. Oh. Okay. Interesting. All right. Let me see. Extra booyah. So good to see you. Uncle Warren's in the chat. Okay. Zingers seem to be more popular. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, shit. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys for coming in because look, I only have a few hours. I don't know if I'll be able to get out there to the polls because, to be honest with you, number one, it's raining. Number two, the polling place I have to go to, it's not local. It's like well, I mean, if you're driving, it's 8 minutes, but I don't have a car. And plus, I got RBN to do in like 30 minutes. So, yeah. Like, I do want to vote for the Green Party candidate, though. I don't know. I may dip out of RBN early. Who knows? But I really don't want to. I don't even feel like taking my ass down there. You know how it feels like a chore right now because there's only one person that I actually believe in voting for. Nothing else. Like nothing else really, except for the ballot initiatives. That's it. And it's kind of demoralizing. It's like it makes you feel like voting is a chore, and it's just like it shouldn't be. You're participating in the democracy. You're supposed to actually feel, joyful about it, but you don't. And so this is why I'm just like, no, I don't even feel like doing it. I just want to chill out, drink some tea, and I don't know, watch something. Oh gosh. But if you guys voted, cool. Especially if you voted for ballot initiatives and stuff like that, cool. And if you feel, like I just don't want to do it, I feel you. But look, if anything, just say a kind word, and while you're at it, if you like streams like this or whatever I may talk about, could you go down there to hit the subscribe? Wait. Hang on. Right now, that little red box that says subscribe, yeah. Just click it real quick. Right there. Okay. Did you? I'm gonna check. But yeah, so I just want to appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys for coming in and watching my old dusty ass. So if you guys are watching me on Rockfin, I finished Blood in My Eye by George Jackson. So this book is done, right? I'm continuing the reading of Dirty Truths by Michael Parenti. I'll be, continuing that reading later this week. But I got a surprise for y'all. The next book I'm going to be reading is Yes. I'm going to be reading the autobiography of Asada Shakur. Oh yeah, yo, I would love to get an interview from her. I think she's living in Cuba right now. Yo, I cannot wait to read this. I'm gonna be reading it. Yo, I cannot wait. Yo, this is Yo, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Bro, like, bro! She's your queen to be, a queen to forever. Okay, sorry. But yeah, so I'm I am excited, to read the autobiography of Asada Shakur, because number one, it is good for us to read theory, right, and to put it into practice. But another thing that I think is really good is that a lot of times we'll read theory from a lot of men, which is great, but at the same time, you got to get the woman's perspective, man, because the thing is that we're blends of different people, so you got to get that that perspective of a revolutionary woman in there too. That's also very important. You got to listen to our sisters out there, and when I say sisters, I mean both cis and trans sisters. We got to listen to them because they also have a lot of wonderful, very rich ideas that we can glean from, so that we can actually become better. So I just want to, make sure to read that. And plus, one of the things that when I first started this channel, I said to myself was, I want to platform more women. I want to be a brother. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So that's why, I'm also doing it, because I really want to do that. But um, be sure to tune in later this week. I don't know if I'm gonna be reading this on YouTube, because I'm not sure if it's as spicy as Blood in My Eye. If it's not as spicy, then I'll read it both on YouTube and Rockfin. But if it's a little spicy, then I might have to read it exclusively on Rockfin. But nevertheless, it will be read anyway on either one channel or both. But it's going to get read. So you guys can actually tune into that. Also, thank you so very much to the patrons on Patreon, Coffee, as well as anybody who is a member. Thank you so very much. Without you guys, I would not have these lights on. And look, if you guys are, going to, go out and vote today, I mean, I wish you guys luck. But I don't know. Look, vote independent, vote green. If you're in I'm sorry, not South. If you're in North Carolina, vote for Matthew Ho. If you're in Texas, vote for Delala Barrios. Go for the Green people, or go for a third party. Because they're the only ones that I honestly see any viability in voting for at all when it comes to their policies. And then also make sure to hit those ballot initiatives if you can. And if not, if you don't want to do any of that, do a little bit of mutual aid, even if it's emotional mutual aid for some people, so that to make them feel good in their heart. So you can do one of those two. All right. I just want to say that I think you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in. Look, water your plants, water yourselves, leave the world better than you found it. Do like I did last weekend. Smoke them if you got them. Drink them if you got them. If you don't got them, then watch something hilarious. Laugh, because joy is revolutionary. Be kind. Just, you never know what people are going through. That's one thing I can say. You never know what people are going through. Just be kind to other people. Even if it's tough at that moment, just try to choose kindness. Forehead kisses, mwah, to every single one of you. You and you and I will always love you.